Hi everyone, I'm Miss Katie from Rockland Public Library and happy Hanukkah! Today we're going to be reading Queen of the Hanukkah Dosas. Queen of the Hanukkah Dosas is by Pamela Ehrenberg and illustrated by Anjan Sarkar. Now some of us have parents that came from the same country and celebrated the same holidays growing up, and others of us have parents from different countries and have completely different heritage. Now, this is the story of a family with a mother from India and a father who is Jewish, and they celebrate the holiday of Hanukkah, a Jewish holiday, by eating dosas, an Indian food. It's like a crepe or a thin pancake. So let's see what happens in Queen of the Hanukkah Dosas. It wasn't that I didn't want my little sister Sadie to help out to make the dosas for Hanukkah. The problem was she climbed too much. Here she is on top of the couch. I explained this to my mom on Thursday. I explained it to my dad on Friday. I explained it to my ama on Saturday. By Sunday, Hanukkah was almost here. When my family picked me up from Hebrew school, my mom smiled the whole way to the little Indian market. I'm pretty sure I've never seen anyone from Hebrew school at the India market. And I'm positive I've never seen anyone from the market dropping off kids at Hebrew school. But I'm absolutely 100% confident I've never seen anyone from either place climb as much as Sadie. Here she is, getting out of her crib, climbing up high. Could she have stayed home? I asked, but nobody answered. We scooped up 3 kinds of dal. Dal is what you use to make the dosas. Dal is like a legume or a bean. So we scooped up 3 kinds of dal from the bulk food bins. I had just placed a sack of rice in my cart when I heard Sadie yell, "Up! Up!" I turned around in time to see her climb up a pyramid of coconut milk. Cans rolled everywhere. "Come down, Sadie," said Ama, but Sadie didn't move. The little kids at Hebrew school had been practicing the dreidel song. I guess the tune was stuck in my head. Without thinking, I started singing very softly. I had a little dosa, I made it out of dal. A big grin spread across Sadie's face. Amazingly, she climbed down. At home, the dal and rice had to soak for a long time. Sadie insisted on wearing her dreidel costume while we wrapped Hanukkah gifts and strung paper dreidels in the window. Making Indian food that my mom ate as a kid for a Jewish holiday that my dad grew up with, that was a lucky combination. But what felt even luckier was the house was still standing after a whole afternoon with Sadie. When the rice and dal were ready, we pulverized them in the grinder. "Up, up!" yelled Sadie, climbing up onto the counter and pushing the button. "Come down, Sadie," said Mom, but Sadie stayed where she was. Was there a chance the song would work again? What do you think? Would the song work a second time? Just in case, I started singing very softly. I had a little dosa, I made it out of dal. Sure enough, Sadie grinned and climbed down. Finally, I added just a little salt. "Up, up!" yelled Sadie, climbing up onto the bench and knocking the salt out of my hand. "Come down, Sadie," said Dad, but the smiling Sadie stayed where she was. Now, I was an expert. I could handle this one. One more time, I sang softly, I had a little dosa, I made it out of dal. This time, Sadie giggled and climbed down. Monday afternoon, we all rushed home from school and work. It was time to make the dosas. Just like the Maccabees, my mom rubbed oil in a pan called a tawa, where we cook the dosas. When my mom lit the stove, the flame burned as brightly as I imagined the temple lights burning all those years ago. The dosas sizzled in coconut oil, and our whole house smelled like Hanukkah. Amma turned off the stove, put the last batch of dosas in the still warm oven, and went upstairs to take a nap. There she goes. Just then, my cousins arrived to celebrate the first night of Hanukkah with us. Mom and Dad and Sadie ran outside to say hello. I followed them outside and almost didn't notice when the door clicked shut behind me. Uh-oh. Mom jiggled the doorknob. "Who has the key?" said Dad. I pressed the doorknob doorbell over and over, even though we all knew it was broken. My cousin banged on the door, but Amma didn't hear us. Uh-oh. Up, yelled Sadie. We ignored her and stared at the doorknob. I imagined the bowls of sambar on the dinner table, ready for us to dip our dosas into. I could smell the dosas through the kitchen window, which Amma had opened to let out the heat. Up, yelled Sadie again. This time, we looked at her. I was too big to fit through the window, but without her dreidel costume, Sadie had a chance. What do you think? Is that gonna work? Quicker than the rolling cans of coconut milk, I helped Sadie out of her costume. Speedier than the soaring lentils, Dad boosted her up to the window. And faster than flying fenugreek, Sadie climbed inside with Mom holding her legs. She landed on the kitchen table and waved at us. "Let us in, Sadie," said my cousins. "Or at least wake up your grandma," said my aunt. But Sadie stayed where she was. Would the trick work with such a big audience? I was ready to try. I started the song. I had a little dosa, I made it out of doll. But this time, Sadie didn't climb down. Instead, she grinned and clapped her hands and looked at me, waiting for more. If only I knew what else to sing. But it was hard to think with the smell of dosas making me super hungry. I imagined gobbling up 100 dosas, then filling my plate for more. Suddenly, I knew how to end the song. I sang, "It tasted very yummy, I had to eat 'em all." Sadie burst out laughing. Then she climbed down and opened the door for us. Everybody rushed inside. Mom was upstairs to wake Amma. My aunt took the dosas out of the oven, while my cousins and I put candles in the Hanukkah menorah. Up, yelled Sadie. Dad lifted Sadie, queen of the Hanukkah dosas, onto his shoulders as Mom and Amma came downstairs. "It's a good thing she's such a good climber," I said. I always knew her climbing would come in handy. Mom's eyes shone as brightly as the candles. Dad said, "I wonder if Judah Maccabee's big brother was surprised when he turned out to be so useful." I grinned as I piled dosas onto my plate, filling a cup with mango lassi, and ran to join my cousins. The end. Great listening, everyone. If you enjoyed that story, there is also at the end some directions for the dosas in the story and some sambar to dip the dosas in so you can make this meal at home. The end. I hope you all had a wonderful day, and I can't wait to see you all next week. Happy Hanukkah. Bye-bye.